Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. We've been having a long week of debating, engaging, dialoguing about this very, very historical mission that all of us, this generation, has to make sure that people of African descent move forward in terms of the quality of their life, in terms of their contribution, in terms of ensuring that the inequality gap that is severe between us and many other people is closed, and that's our mandate. But before we start, I would like to hand over to the prayer team. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon. I will be leading the prayer in 3 languages: Amharic, English, and then French. ያለፈው የአሁኑ እና የወደፊቱ አምላክ ሆይ ሁሉም ሰው ተከፋብሮ አብሮ በማገልገልና ፍጥረትን አክብሮ የሚኖርበትን ዓለም አሳየን። God of the past, the present, and the future, show us a world where we can all live with dignity, solidarity in service to one another and creation. Dieu du passé, du présent et du futur, montre-nous un monde où tous peuvent vivre dans la dignité, la solidarité au service des uns et des autres et de la création.
Great, we finished the prayers. Thank you very much again. It's always important to start with our prayers. So what we're going to be doing now is broadly, let me give a sense of the run sheet. We will be listening to different speakers, the 3 of them, and I will introduce each of the speakers, and then basically from there, making sure that after the speakers have spoken, we will break into groups and look at the outcomes of the program and of this whole conference, just to make sure that this conference does not end up as a talk shop, but it ends up with very clear outcomes. And we'll break into 3 groups. We'll be guided accordingly and with moderators to answer specific questions. Those specific questions are action-orientated and are aimed at ensuring that when we leave this conference, there's action that starts from day 1. We cannot waste any further time. The history will judge us very harshly if we waste time. And thereafter, we will definitely come back and have a call to action. And that's broadly how it's going to run. Our first speaker, and they guide me here, Rekotso, is Nora Kami, here already. Rekotso Fetsi. I'm going to introduce her. That's correct? Okay, good. Nora Kami, and I'm going to introduce her. Born in Jerusalem, 1947. Nora Asenia Kemi is a Palestinian Christian who became a refugee in her own city, divided after the establishment of the Israel state from her late father, Noba Asenia, a genocide survivor of the Armenian massacres of 1915. And her Christian upbringing, she learned the value and sanctity of human life, and she grew up in the land termed holy where conflict and strife have prevailed over the 6 decades of her life. Nora has served as a community builder in Palestine society in both professional and voluntary capacities, advocating for a just peace and empowering women and the community through skills development and spirituality. Her career has included leadership with YWCA of Palestine, Sabel Liberation Theology Center, and Kairos, Palestine. She travels extensively, speaking in church and political circles around the world about the urgency of ending the injustice in Palestine and Israel. Over to you, Nora. Thank you very much. Is Nora in a position to speak?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Africa and African diaspora. I am truly humbled to be able to say a few words in this meaningful conference. Unfortunately, I was not aware of it, and it is only this morning that Reverend Munderis asked me to say a few words. I could not refuse to raise my voice with all of you, with all of us who have been oppressed, discriminated, and ill-treated, not only as human beings, but whose lands, nature, ecology, fauna and flora have been exploited and violated. As I was introduced, I come from a land that has known oppression, that continues to be oppressed unjustly, even this week. And I think maybe this is one of the reasons that Reverend Munder could not be with you, because very soon there will be a meeting with the 6 organizations that have been termed as terrorist and who are threatened. So I'm here instead, not as a politician, but a person of faith who has been in your country, who knows the similarities of exploiting the land and the people. And so here I am with little advice, but honest aspirations and outlook. I know what Africa has suffered. I know how we have been exploited in this part of the world. I know how human beings have destroyed the beautiful creation of God. How some of us, out of greed and power, we have thought we are better than others. Maybe because of our color, our creed, our gender, but it all amounts to knowing that none of us is vulnerable. We saw it during the past pandemic, not rich countries, not poor countries, not the oppressed, not the oppressor. Why? Because we have all forgotten that wars, military and nuclear power, killing and destruction won't bring about what God intended in the creation of humanity. I know that many of us are not of the same faith, and yet we all hold on knowing that we are created equal by God. And so there is a little bit of that divine image in each of us that we have no right to destroy in anybody, in any country, not anywhere in the world. What can we do today? I love your theme today, reimagining. What are we going to imagine? Are we going to go back to what was existing pre-COVID, pre-20th century, pre-wars? Or is it that together we can envisage and look to a better future, to a future where we can all hold hands together and encourage each one in our just struggles, preferably non-violently, even if international law allows us to take weapons as a last resort? Isn't there another solution today? I'm going to be courageous and say, yes, there is a renewal of a paradigm, the logic of love. What is lacking today in our world is moral values, respect of each other, and definitely love. Without love, we cannot see a future where we shall all exist. We cannot see Africa with all its riches that have been exploited, not rising up again, not as an equal, but as a rightful partner in creating the world. We really need to look at this today. It is not too late to go forward. Who has destroyed the world except us human beings? Nothing that is happening was intended. Okay. God did not create Europe, Africa, Asia. We did it. We human beings did it. And we thought we were doing the right thing. We realize now that concepts cannot work from now on. Yes, we cannot forget, but we can learn. And not forgetting does not mean that we want to revenge or to become more powerful than the other. The solution is simple but difficult. Love never fails. As a Christian, I can say that, but I know that my brothers, Jews, Muslims, and non-monotheistic people also think the same, that human beings have to live in dignity. Welcome to my world, Africa. Accept me as a person who is oppressed, as your sister, and let us all work together to see that we can transform this world into what it was intended in its creation. A place of harmony, a place where we can all be together and do the will of God if we believe in God, but to live according to human rights, in love, and in just peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What a powerful inspiration, Nora, for a person in the space where you are to talk about the logic of love. It's mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling. And but you've inspired us, and we are truly in solidarity with what you are going through in Palestine. So thank you very much for responding to the call at such a short notice. And we are very grateful. We're going to move on now to the next speaker. The next speaker is a Congresswoman. Let me just make sure I've got all my bio. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. She is an influential, forceful voice in Washington. She is serving her 14th term as a member of the United States House of Representatives. She represents the 18th Congressional District of Texas, centered in Houston, which is the energy capital of the world. having grown up in the energy space and work in that, I know Houston very well. Considered by many as a voice of reason, she's dedicated to upholding the constitutional rights of all people. She sits on 3 congressional committees, a senior member of the House of Committees on the Judiciary and Homeland Security, and appointed by the leadership as a member of the Crucial Budget Committee. In the previous Congress, she authored and introduced and saw passage of the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act. Additionally, she introduced several bills, including Juvenile Accountability Block Grant Reauthorization and Bullying Prevention and Intervention Act, the Federal Bureau Nonviolent Offender Relief Act, an amendment to the Commerce, Justice, and Science appropriations for fiscal year 2015, affirming the authority of the Attorney General to reduce prison overcrowding by developing, implementing lawful policies relating to requests to execute clemency from deserving petitioners. She is the past ranking member of the Homeland Security Subcommittee of the Maritime Border Security, wherein she co-authored HR 1417. She's delivered a number of laws and regulations. If I can go through all her CV, I will take her time. On that note, I would like to welcome Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Over to you.
Good morning. Thank you so very much. I hope you can see my dedication to participating this morning in the Africa and African diaspora. Outstanding opportunity to participate in a journey that is shared. I certainly enjoyed listening to the call for love. Thank you to Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith and Reverend Frank Chakani for the invitation. May I start by saying in Matthew 17:10, we can hear the words, move from here to there, and it will move and nothing will be impossible for you. I think that theme is a potent and relevant theme on the efforts that I have made to address the question of slavery in the United States. Slavery lasted longer, 246 years, than this country is old. 4 million Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and colonies that became the United States from 1619 to 1865.
Apologies.
The issue.
We are loving your address. We would just ask you to put your phone on landscape, just so we can see you clearly.
I can't hear you. I'm on an airplane, so I hope you can hear me. Can you?
We just want you to put your phone onto its side so it reorientates so we can see you clearly.
I don't know, I can see you.
It is fine.
The institution of slavery was constitutionally and statutorily sanctioned by the government of the United States from 1789 to 1865. We would consider slavery America's original sin, but it was also an economic engine that built the nation, created the transatlantic slave trade. We all know that the traders decided to give up on spices and gold, begin to use human beings, and created a permanent scar on the backs of so many Africans. HR 40 is an effort to address this question and to be able to heal and to explore the impact of those 246 years of slavery. There is a need for a new journey and one of love. There was a myth around the Civil War that after the Civil War, all discrimination would end. There was a good attempt to integrate the descendants of enslaved Africans into the idea of society. But in fact, something called Reconstruction failed after 12 years. And after that time, some 4,000 descendants of enslaved Africans were lynched. HR 40 is the commission to study and develop reparation proposals. And one would ask in 2021, what would be the need of that? The enormity of the disparities between African Americans and the rest of the country is evident. HR 40 tracks the commitment of General Sherman that wanted to distribute 40 acres and a mule to the freed slaves. It never happened. Of course, for 100 years into the 20th century, disparities continued. Does anyone realize that the NAACP opposed Social Security, for example, because 65% of the descendants of enslaved Africans were not eligible because they were farm workers and domestic workers? Do we realize that the continued redlining where housing could not be bought, or health disparities evidenced by the COVID-19, where the highest number of those who were sick and the highest number of those who were hospitalized, and tragically the highest number of those who died, happened to be African Americans? We look to today's indicia where we find that the wealth difference in 1968, $6,000 for a family of four, middle-class family for African Americans, and $70,000 for a typical middle-class white family. This is both correctable by spirit and by intent. And so the reach across the boundaries of countries is for the understanding of the condition of the of those who live in the United States, who are descendants of enslaved Africans, to be able to address this question with us, to understand it, to reach across the boundaries as we understand and fight for those who are in various conditions themselves. I wanted to participate to at least raise the question of the legislation of HR 40, draw upon the international community's support. It is a commission to study slavery, to provide an apology, and to develop reparation proposals. There are over 300 organizations that are supporting. They've been working on this since 1989, when it was introduced formally by John Conyers, my predecessor. I'm delighted that he entrusted this to me. It came after the 1988 commitment and reparations to Japanese Americans who were unfairly interned in the 1940s. There is no reason for this legislation not to be passed on the floor of the House of the United States Congress, or to be made as a commission by the President of the United States. So we look forward to continuing the shared journey with all of you. We could look forward to our story being told, that the story of perceived wealth in the United States, of various stars and athletes and others, is not the real in-depth story of the disparities that continue in wealth, in healthcare, in business, and of course, the issues of social justice. Let me conclude by simply saying, as we watch the trials and tribulations of the treatment of Black men at the hands of law enforcement, the roll call of George Floyd, Black woman Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Ahmaud Arbery, and many others, we understand that it is time to come together and to make the impossible possible. And we hope that we have brought some attention to this important seismic legislation, hopefully to be supported by the United Nations, as it has been, and people around the world. HR 40, the commission to study slavery, apologize, and develop reparation proposals for the descendants of enslaved Africans, as has occurred in the Caribbean and South and Central America and around the world. Thank you for having me this morning. And as I said, the commitment is to even try to do this on a plane as it is about to take off. You are very important. I look forward to us collaborating in the future. Thank you so very much for your kindness.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman. We are really honored to have you speaking to us in the plane. It just shows the level of commitment that you have. You could have easily said, look, I'm busy, I'm traveling, don't bother me now. But you took the challenge of speaking to the whole world in the plane. Hope you travel safely and making us with the challenge, leaving us with the challenge to continue the struggle, particularly of Black Lives Matter. Again, when we watch the George Floyd video, it just makes you feel extremely angry, upset, all sorts of emotions come through. But his death was not in vain, because it triggered a massive movement of which we are part. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. let's move on. I now want to introduce Archbishop Lawrence MacDonald. Archbishop was born in 1954. He's an Anglican Archbishop. Since 2007, he has served as the National Indigenous Anglican Bishop from 2019 for the Anglican Church of Canada. And as such, he's a pastoral oversight over all Indigenous Canadians Anglicans. He previously served in the Episcopal Church in the United States as a Bishop of Alaska and as Assistant Bishop of Navajoland Area Mission. MacDonald was consecrated as a bishop in 1997. He served as a Bishop of Alaska in the Episcopal Church in 2006. It was announced that he has been appointed Bishop of Navajoland Area Mission, and he was affirmed and appointed in that role. So thank you very much, Bishop. Archbishop, we truly appreciate your presence. Over to you.
True. Linden Way Maganag. There I am. Bizanzwen Kika, which Yabugawa, Bichi Manado. Linden Way Maganag. I repeat that. What I've said to all of you, that I wish you the peace of the great mystery, and that we are all relatives. I think that it is such an honor to be involved in this conversation, something that is very intimate and personal to me, but also I think very, very important to the future. The way that I addressed you is very significant, and not just honorific or a polite way to meet somebody. It is our practice to try to establish a relationship of kinship with people who are friends and allies. And I must acknowledge and give thanks that this has been particularly true in the North American context, the place that we indigenous peoples call Turtle Island. I think that I hope that as I speak, this will become more and more apparent. For me, this moment is important, as I mentioned. My life has been very touched by the shared oppression and the shared hope of indigenous people and people of the African diaspora, particularly in my context, what is known as the United States and Canada. I was a part of a large group of young people, mixed race, many indigenous, many white, many African American. We found our faith to be a saving thing for us. All of us came from homes that were quite broken. All of us had experienced the way of life of the streets, and many had experienced harsh discrimination based on race. We looked for churches or religions that would welcome and honor us. And everywhere we went, it was the same thing. We would be welcome if we became like the people who we were engaging with. The place where we found respite, welcome, and hope was in a National Baptist church in northern Minnesota, where I grew up. And there, the pastor, the Reverend Sylvester Witherspoon, welcomed us, despite the many people in that area who would have cautioned him not to. But he could see something. He could see something in terms of the kinship that we might have in hope, a kinship that would guide us in the way that we lived and the way that we related to each other and to creation. And this is why I am today a minister in the Anglican Church of Canada. That was not his church, but he guided me towards the ministry, something that I had never anticipated, and certainly anybody who had known me never anticipated. This kinship in oppression, this kinship in hope, has marked the relationship of Indigenous peoples and people of the African diaspora in Turtle Island. And more than any other kind of relationship, this has been fruitful and important. There has been a lot of intermarriage between people of the African diaspora and the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island. And we have become relatives on many, many levels. I think that as we face the world today, as we face the challenges of the world today, this kinship of oppression, this kinship of hope is critical, not only to our relationship with each other, but our relationship to the planet and its future. As I have become aware of what you're doing, it is to me an echo of what I believe is the world to come. It is, I think, a powerful witness, a powerful statement of solidarity, and as I said, a kinship of hope. I am here today because I believe so deeply, so intimately, that it is important for that kinship of hope to be a part of our future, our common future. There is a Ojibwe word, bimadazuin, and it's roughly translated life. It's spelled B-I-M-A-D-I-Z or Z-I-W-I-N, bimadazuin. The root word is to walk. And bimadazuin describes all of the things as ethics, theology, philosophy, our ecology, our relationship to the planet. All of these have moral significance, and all of them are based on this passion to become relatives with all that is, and especially with the humanity that we encounter in our walk. It is often said in my circles that we must walk together. Really, we must live together. And it is my hope that we will walk together, and we will walk together in the kinship of hope. I believe that in this kind of relationship, in this kind of life, that we will see the power of the world to come manifest in our presence by the Spirit of truth, and that will be a guiding light, not just for us, but for this planet, for all of humanity. So thank you so very much. Miigwech, Gina Nakaman, thank you so very much for letting me be a part of this great moment. And I close by saying, what I'm saying is, I will see you again, my relatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Archbishop. What a powerful concept, kingship of hope. It is a powerful concept. We earlier on had the logic of love in very difficult circumstances. So I think the combination of these two concepts, the logic of love and the kingship of hope, is probably my takeaway for this conference, so that we may go away knowing that this is what we're called to do in the next phase as people of African descent. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate your presence. We're going to move on here. I'm guided by Refu, and we are now going to get into the breakaway groups. So I've asked, please, if you can show the questions which I would like the breakaway groups to do in your breakaways. And this is very important. I want to go through them slowly and explain to them, because this is very important. This is probably the key of the conference. If we don't come up with this one, all the 5 days would have been good get together, hugging each other, talking to each other, but no outcomes. And personally, I'm very strong about outcomes, about action. When we started AAD a few years back, that is what we had in mind. So the first one is, what outcomes based on what you see in the paper and in the conference? So sorry, now so there will be a paper that I will read very now, and I want to read it quite slowly, and but I want you to pick up outcomes out of that paper. That paper is trying to summarize everything that we've been doing the last couple of days. And the second question, which I would like you to reflect on when you're going through that paper, is what actions based on what you see in this paper, and otherwise. There's been a lot of other discussions that were taking place, and there's a lot of comments. We do not want to claim monopoly of wisdom that everything will be in that paper, but there's a lot of other things that were said that we may have missed in this draft paper. But more importantly is what actions resonate with you. Having been in this conference, it is critical that change comes first from one person at a time. What actions that resonate with you, and then from there, what, based on your talents, gifts, and resources, expertise, professional training, which area do you want to participate in terms of those outcomes? So I'm clear on the questions. Are you able to show the paper? Because I think I want to go through the paper now before people go into the breakaways, because in that way we will be able to have meaningful breakaways. Chikane Jr., are you able to do that? Help me out with the paper if you can put it on the screen. I want to go through it now.
If you give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Let me repeat the question while he's coming. It's, what is it that you will do when you come out? Based on your talents, gifts, and expertise, and what resonates with you, what you're passionate about. I've learned in life now over many years, having been around, is that what you're passionate about is what you do. And in this whole journey of people of African descent, there is a specific purpose and passion that is inside you, that when you think about, you're driven to actually do something about. And based on that, organizations have been formed. Based on that, networks have been formed. Based on that, social enterprises have been formed. And that's why I want you to when you read this paper, read it with that in mind. But more importantly, we would like you to indicate that area that you would like to participate in. Rejo is going to take notes and making sure that we know who's going to be part of the mainstream. Let me read the document now. It is a draft, very important, because we cannot have a fully adopted document today, given the fact that the time it doesn't allow us. But it is a draft discussion paper on the outcomes and actions of the Africa and African Diaspora, a conference that took place from the 23rd to the 29th of October 2021. We will use it in our breakaway sessions. The overview is clear. The AAD conference was virtually held 23rd to the 29th of October. The theme was Africa and African in Diaspora from Manchester. That historical conference, 1945, to Pan-African Renaissance, the shared journey, the past, present, and future. The conference built on the outcomes of the 1945 Pan-African Congress, Manchester. This led to a call for a global movement and reinstatement of the principles and ideals of Pan-Africanism in all sectors, pertaining to the social, political, spiritual, and economic empowerment of Africans and people of African descent in this moment. This is a very historical moment. This moment includes critical engagement with organizations, movement, efforts from civil society, the private sector, government sector, including special regard for the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and the 2001 UN World Conference, which took place in Durban in South Africa, against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and other intolerance of the UN. And then the UN Decade of African Descent, which started in 2015 up to 2024. So we're left with 3 years now. So we have to move very fast. The new permanent forum of the people of African descent. This is a very important development in the UN, and the Sustainable Development Goals. We all know that. And the Black Lives Matter campaign, which has become a global phenomenon, among others. The conference brought together people of African descent from all the continents of the world, from the African continent, Asia, the Caribbean, Europe, Latin America, North America, Central America, Ocean, Pacific Islands. And we also had voices, even this morning, from indigenous people and the people of Palestine. The conference was preceded by a consultative conference of women, which took place on Saturday. Very good conference. If you want to know what happened there, go to the website of AAD, of the African descents from the regions referred to above. The highlights of the conference was officially opened by the representative of the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister Nathi Mthethwa. A keynote address was delivered by none other than our Pan-Africanist leader, former President of South Africa, President Thabo Mbeki. Throughout the week, speakers from multilateral organizations, United Nations, African Union, and CARICOM, and from all regions globally where people of Africa and of African descent are found, address various themes outlined in the concept paper which we issued some time ago, and the program of the conference. The conference also listens to the voices from Cuba, Dalit communities, Gambia, Haiti, indigenous people, people from the Pacific Islands, including West Papua and Palestine this morning, who shared about the challenges faced by the people of Africa and African descent, the Dalit communities, and indigenous peoples of the world. The conference also dealt with the challenge of decolonizing the minds of Africa and people of African descent globally, and encourage them to deepen their resolve to take responsibility for their own political, economic, and cultural liberation, and to more substantially engage and create the creative and innovative opportunities offered by the fourth industrial revolution. We spoke very, very clearly that there was Revolution 1, the Industrial Revolution 2, 3, and all those who were oppressed or slave or decolonized, the three industrial revolution. The fourth one, it's an opportunity for us to take people of African descent throughout the world at the cutting edge of it. We have to take ownership of this one. And unless we take ownership of this one, we'll be left behind again. In addressing the economic strategies required to change the economic conditions of the Africans and people of African descent globally, the conference had the passionate plea for reparations. The voices of African descended people who have survived and thrived despite the ascendancy of our beloved who were enslaved without remuneration for centuries were heard. As a business person, there was a very clear a statement that if you calculate 300 years of labor and the value of it, and economically, it's massive. So it's really important that we talk about this issue. It was recognized that the wealthier nations of Europe and the Americas, for example, especially did and do benefit from this, as well as the privileged regions of the global economy, and also build on these historical inequities and years of terror, unethical and unlawful extraction and exploitation of natural resources, particularly from Africa. It was further recognized that indigenous people globally share in this historic narrative. The conference also heard from the Pacific Islands, where nuclear tests in these lands have caused diseases for many generations that has contributed to the consequence and climate change. It was recognized that climate change is primarily caused by the major developed countries, which are threatening the lives and livelihoods of the people in the islands. The conference noted the importance of building bridges between Africans on the continent and people of African descent globally by establishing, very important, a global Pan-African network that is rooted in all regions where people of African descent are found. Various speakers urged that Africans and people of African descent should work closely with, as part of the 6th region of the AU and the United Nations Permanent Forum of People of African Descent. Very important structures that we must make sure we work very closely with to ensure that the challenges facing Africa and people of African descent are brought to the highest level of decision-making in the world, including the restructuring of the international governance architecture and establishment of an equitable international order. The conference participants agree that there cannot be Pan-Africanism. Wait. Pan-Africanism, which is not Africanism. For all and with all. Pan-Africanism shall engage and include women and youth, the elderly, minority, and various religious, spiritual, and cultural expressions. Voices from indigenous people and the people from Palestine reminded us to collaborate, and work together with all the people who were oppressed and whose rights were violated to bring about a sustainable transformation in the world with and for humanity and creation. Now, the action plan, critical when you go there. When you go to your breakaway rooms, that's where you need to focus. First of all, the conference agreed on the following action plan. This action plan was inspired by the 10 thematic areas of the conference. And that is a link. So you can click in that link. Don't click now because it's going to take a lot of time. You can click in that link just to remind yourself what was those themes, because based on those themes, the action points are coming from. Now, action number 1, very important. Program of decolonizing knowledge, education, and educational systems to ensure that people of African descent globally develop tools of critical thinking, research, innovation to find solutions to challenges facing them and the world. This platform will include rewriting the narrative that promotes gender equity and the leadership of women in the development of sustainable life in Africa and in diaspora. This platform will also include the building out of partnership with youth and young adults. And these specific communities will also provide necessary resources to build out this platform for the future of Africa and people of African descent. So this is stream number 1. If you are passionate about this and you've got the resource, the expertise, please discuss this and sign your name in. We were looking to get some kind of evaluation form where you can actually say, I'm in on this one, put your name down. We want everyone now call to action, raise your hand, because without that, we're not going to win. Number 2, engage on our understanding of different forms of spirituality and develop together liberating forms of spirituality as part of decolonizing of the mind. Such will inform how we center the human dignity and thereby the human rights of Africans and the African diaspora in self-determination. This is also quite important. We had a whole section about spirituality, and it's very important. So if you are passionate about this and you can add a lot of value, please put your name down. We will be contacting you. We'll be forming global streams that focuses on this. Number 3, prioritize solidarity and action, especially with Africans and people of African descent who are the most vulnerable and marginalized. Such will lead to the creation of opportunities and space for Africans and people of African descent globally to interact with and learn from each other, understand each other, to be able to act in solidarity with one another in a collective manner to change the balance of forces globally and force the world to change its perspective about Africans and people of African descent and move us forward, particularly end racism. So again, that's a very big stream there. Put your hand up. The next one, seek a formal relationship with the Directorate of the Division on the Diaspora, AU-based and AU6 region. We've got a lot of people who attended this conference who are working in the AU and the United Nations and at different agencies and multilateral organizations. Please, we want all of you help us with this action point. Number 5, seek a formal relationship that holds policy leaders, international organizations, and civil society actors, and address society actors and actors accountable to integrating Pan-Africanist ideals in policy and decision-making with the UN Forum on the People of African Descent, as well as support fully the United Nations Decade of People of African Descent. Number 6, seek a formal relationship that holds policy leaders, international organizations and civil society and actors and actresses accountable to the integration of Pan-Africanist ideals in the decision-making in governments. That's where the issue is. And particularly CARICOM, United States, European Union, and on matters of people of African descent. We need to be in these structures and make sure that the policy framework supports our goals. Number 7, I'm coming to an end now. Create a forum to encourage trade, collaboration in business and civil society, enterprises, Africans, as well as work together to develop enterprises, both particularly social enterprises, with competitive and comparable advantage globally. This platform will also facilitate an regional and national exchange of entrepreneurial initiatives, cultural ideas, critical reflection, and capital between Africa and African diaspora. This is so critical because it leads to economic emancipation. I've raised my hand, so Rehotsofes, you can write my name on top of that one, because I really like to participate actively on this one, because I know the power of economic transformation in our journey. 8, address the racist perspective about reparations for Africa and people of African descent, and build on continuing efforts of reparatory justice across the world. Such efforts should address the economic, social, and political cost of enslavement period of Africans and African diaspora, and solidarity with related issues in the Pacific indigenous communities, especially in India and America. The issue of reparations is so fundamental. If you're passionate about it and you're working it, please put your hand up. You are concluding now. See, the hands are being raised up here. I like that. I'm making an altar call here. Number 9, enter consultative processes with as many diverse entities that address matters related to the people of African descent, Pan-Africanism, with a view of establishing sustainable goal Pan-African network within a period of a year to ensure that commitments we make together are turned into reality to achieve Pan-African resistance and to end racism in the world. Such will seek a mission of facilitating future dialogue, engaged, and network activity to build a movement, vision of transformation with African priorities and themes identified in our concept paper. This is critical to create this Pan-African network. There's people here who are very passionate about organizational structures. We will raise your hand, please. Take a follow-up conference. A follow-up conference will be held within 3 years to evaluate progress made and the next steps to be taken to achieve the total liberation of African descent, politically, economically, and spiritually. I know that Reverend Chikane and Reverend Walker Smith are passionate about continuing with us. In 3 years' time, we'll have, but let's not wait for 3 years. Every month, we must have some kind of one of these streams meeting and developing action point, sharing the stories on our website, projects you're involved in, resources you require. Let's all work together. I think that's the last one. So I'll hand over to Rehotsofetsi to tell us what we need to do now in terms of breaking away to the groups. Over to you.
Thank you, Prof. And I'm really inspired for the next session. We will be putting the links to the breakaways in the chat.
We're losing you. Pick out your mic. Okay, good.
Well, hopefully you can hear me now, loud and clear. We will be now moving to the breakaways for the next hour. For those who have been chosen as moderators for the Portuguese and Spanish breakaway, where there will be interpreters for Spanish and Portuguese, you would have been sent your links before, and you can find your links there. For everyone else, You can find your links in the chat. It has just been posted, and we'll have one breakaway that goes to the Spanish and Portuguese. If you speak French, you can stay in this room and there will be a French interpreter for you, and hopefully we can get your engagement as much as possible. So let me repeat. If you speak Spanish or Portuguese, there will be a link in the chat that Paul has just posted again, and you can find us in that breakaway room. If you speak English and if you speak French, please stay in this room. There will be a French interpreter in this room, and we will be meeting again in an hour's time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we will see those on the other side to come back in an hour's time. The English breakaway is in this particular room. You do not break away. We stay in this plenary where you are currently. But if you're a Spanish or Portuguese speaker, you will click on the link and move to the next room.
Okay, thank you very much. There's the marching orders are clear. Portuguese and Spanish, and you'll get your breakaway, but English and French stay in this room. So let's go to work. Thank you very much. And come back to the plenary and share your thoughts.
Bacon, linguiça, e mais. Seleta de legumes, cebola. Feijoada? Porque é mais feijão que come, né? Churrasco que termina comendo bastante, que come com arroz. Né?
We're just giving everyone a chance to move between rooms.
Translation available. Thank you so much.
Sim, que é para dizer que tem tradução em português e isso.
Please note, we'll discuss all the action items in this room. Please note, this is the breakaway. We will start shortly once our moderator returns. But please note, this is the breakout group for English, and we'll discuss all the action points in this room.
Am I clear now? Can you hear? Everybody can hear me? Tell me, Rejo.
We can hear you loud and clear, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. We know the three questions that we need to deal with. But before that, can we just have some just general comments from anyone who wants to say something, not based on the questions before we start? Please indicate and help me with if there's hands up there, and allow people to speak, or put your suggestions on the chat.
We have a few hands that are popping up. If they can put their suggestions.
Please, go ahead. I'm on the iPad here. Help me with the.
We've got Dr. Damien Dublin. If you don't mind putting your comment in the chat, that would be fantastic. They're asking, Prof, if we can put the text up onto the screen again so people can speak to it. It is now being shared.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Go ahead.
So we're just waiting for some of the comments to come in. I'm going to change my sound.
Your sound is not good, Rejo.
Yeah, sometimes technology fails us and I have to use my laptop now. Hopefully you can hear me now.
I can hear you very well now. Help me with making sure that you give people a chance to speak.
Okay, we will make sure let's work with hands for now as I get our tech team to make sure that we can pull people out if we need them to speak, in particular as attendees. But Prof, do you want to go over the first 3 points again as we get some questions in? The first 3 action points, and then as we get people's hands in, we will then be good to go.
Okay, let's do that. Go that, and then maybe we'll go point by point, as you say.
Point by point, and I have just been told by tech that if people in the chat raise their hand, we will choose their names and they'll be able to speak.
Okay. All right, let's start with the decolonizing of knowledge. That point is anyone who wants to make a point here and wants to contribute on decolonizing of knowledge, education, and education system. This is one of the biggest challenges universities face as a head of a business. Yeah, there's a hand from Damia Dublin. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm Dr. Damien Dublin. I'm chairman of the Dominica Reparations Committee, also member of the CARICOM Reparations Commission. It's a pity, as I said earlier, that I wouldn't be able to stay for the session because we have some activities leading up to independence on November 3rd. I followed part of the conference and I want to commend all who put it together and all the presenters. It was a very informative session. Suggestions I would like to make is that the question of reparation in glimpsing through the final document, I do not see it represented strongly enough. I'll tell you why quickly, because to my mind, reparations is the mechanism that's going to ensure that all the discussions you have had, all the aspirations of the Pan-African movement is concluded in a practical form where we can actually see where we're heading. The CARICOM Reparations Commission has a 10-point plan which can serve as a template. So I would suggest that the meeting look at this one very closely because it covers a whole range of areas, even included the indigenous people. So forums like that are very important for us because we have lots of talent in the motherland Africa and in the diaspora, and we have to find mechanisms to network more and highlight more of our people. Quickly, some of the things I would like to see, but I'm not sure if it can be included, is the question of the direct flights from the Caribbean. We know from Barbados to Ghana, it's possible in less time, so we don't have to go through England and America to go to Africa. From Jamaica to Nigeria, this would have been established. So that is one thing I would like globally to see more attention on. And I think what I would do, it would encourage more people from our region to go to Africa. I would also like to see focus on the dissemination of information. We know that the colonialists have their mechanisms of what we call fake news, of psychological pressure through the media. The kind of information they put on Africa most times are not the information that is positive. So we have to develop our own media consultative areas where we can put the information that we want to. I would really also like to see in Africa one currency, and also the question of breaking down the borders. It's too difficult sometimes to move from one place, from Africa, within Africa itself, to move from one place to the other. So these are the quick suggestions I have, and I really want to wish all of us success in this thing. I would like to also suggest that the final document be sent to all the participants and create a forum where possibly if some suggestions come up after that, we can have a mechanism where we can get these ideas flowing. So PT, I cannot wait. I have to go to another activity. So I just want to wish us well, and I'm willing and able to participate in any aspect where my skills can be utilized. So I'm ready. And
Which one in particular? I want you to choose one before you go.
I kind of missed also. I'm not sure. Can you just read it quickly so I can just make a decision right away?
I want to follow you up after this.
Okay, all right. Number 8 is fine. Number 8, I can pair part in number 8.
Oh yeah, okay. Number 8 will put the name there because there's a 10-point plan already, which could be used as a template. So we'll need Dr. Damir Dublin to unpack it for us and make sure that we understand it and then what actions can come out of it. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Wonderful. Okay, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else who wants to volunteer in any of these 10 action points? Reverend, I see Reverend Gwenya. Do you want to speak, or you just basically say you want to be involved in the spirituality one?
Prof, there are quite a few hands that are ready to speak.
Okay, go ahead. Point them out.
Next up.
Call them out, please, Reverend.
Tatemudi, if you don't mind going next, your mic is unmuted.
All right, thank you very much, and good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone out there. Firstly, thank you for the online conference. Save for a few glitches, it went very well. And thank you to the hosts and the speakers. It was quite informative and inspirational. I want to refer to Professor Ibo Mendaza from Zimbabwe, who spoke of the 6th conference in Dar es Salaam and also the 7th one that was held in Kampala, the Pan-African Conference following the Manchester one. So I would like to propose that we have either a repository of sorts where all these action plans, decisions, and so forth that were taken in those two latter conferences where we can then be able to extract information to line up with the action plan that we would like to take these forward. Maybe the conference that is being planned in 3 years could be the 8th Pan-African Conference, or is this one the 8th Pan-African Conference, so that we can then consolidate the action plans. The other thought is to have a chassis, like a car has got a chassis. So we've got all other elements, but I think we have to have a very good base structure where we can load all these action plans and these thoughts going forward. We are blessed to be in the digital era. And I think those who are in the technology space can help us to build a very strong and robust chassis wherein we can load all these other action plans. And the last thought is the issue of reparations. I think with technology as well, we can really fine-tune what do we mean by reparations, who needs to be sorted out, and what is the quantum, and all those types of things that needs to come up, and whether is it for the diaspora or the beneficiary is the continent. So I think I would like to see us clarify that much more and make it clear it should not just be a notion out there, but our demand for reparation needs to be very clear for what and who needs to do the reparations and so forth. So those are the thoughts that I thought we need to tease them out in terms of the action plans and the future going forward from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Modise. But the last point I want you to make, which one of the actions you putting your name on?
I said number 2 and number 9.
Number 2 and number 9. Thank you very much. All right, help me, Rijo. Who else needs to speak?
Next up, we have Shishida Young. Her mic is unmuted.
Hello. Thank you for this conference. My name is Shishida Young, and I've been able to participate some, as some of the other persons mentioned. Some comments that I had, well, first let me also mention that I am a delegate for the conference. I am Bread for the World's Pan-African Young Adult Network convener. And so I signed up for Action 1 in particular because it's talking about the reconnection with youth and women as well. I also had interest in Action 5. What I wanted to comment on was something that I heard throughout that particular day when the focus was with the women and the youth and young adults and the reconnection. There was a piece of sensitivity that was brought up in dealing with storytelling. And I didn't get to comment again about it, but what I noticed is that there is a sense of, from the storytellers, that there may be a sense of shame in their story. And so persons expressed that sometimes they didn't share stories with younger generations because they didn't feel that the stories were uplifting enough to share, and they never want to put our history in a bad light. To piggyback off of that, I wanted to say, it's a simple proverb my grandparents used to say is, I'd rather have the bitter truth instead of a sweet lie. I'd rather have the bitter truth instead of the sweet lie. And so as a young adult, right now we are as millennial as well, there is a sense of wanting to be quote unquote transparent. And so I would say this, we need to definitely share our stories because it interconnects on a lot of the topics that we're talking about. Why? Because at this particular time, a lot of millennials and youth are becoming millionaires and future millionaires and six-figure persons based on new levels of education, getting involved in cryptocurrency, and staying on top of some of the things that our westernized brothers and sisters are already on top of in terms of economic changes. Now, the reason that the storytelling is important is because yes, there is some disheartening stories in there, but because you are here to tell them, there's still some resilience. And so it builds that level of trust that has caused that intergenerational disconnect, because the education really comes from our primary sources, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our tribal leaders, and being that connected to our culture and community, understanding and being grateful to share those types of intimate stories is what ignites those passions that our senior spoke of earlier. And there are plenty of young adults that are already in the movement doing things, but there are others who are on the fence. And sometimes they need to hear that story. They either need to hear the story of how we were oppressed, or they need to hear the story of how we came out of that oppression, or they need to hear the story of how we're working on it. And so there is definitely a lot of misinformation on the internet. In particular, there are mostly young adults and youth on the internet. And so I agreed with the previous person that mentioned, we do have to work on the disinformation, but part of that is gaining the trust that is missing in between the generations. And to be very candid, a lot of young adults feel like they have a chip on their shoulder because they feel like they have not been told the truth, not only in their education, but from their community as well. And so we have to take ownership of our stories, and we do have to, we have to honor our narratives, because we're letting right now other people tell our narratives. A majority of it online, it's not us telling it. And so if we want to stop having westernized versions, we do have to focus on just telling the truth. That transparency is a big thing. A lot of celebrities that are popular right now, whether they are doing things for good or not so good, they are liked because they are considered transparent as who they are. And so I just encourage everyone that is an elder to honor your story. Be proud of it, even if it doesn't end the way that you want it to end. This is a new beginning. And so we do have 3 years to work on certain things. And I think that this is an opportune time because our youth and our young adults' ears are open. There's a whole woke movement that's happening. That's how the Black Lives Movement got here. And it's because they knew their history. And it's because either they saw it primarily, or a primary resource, which is a person, told them. And it's usually a person they trusted or cared about, or someone they saw in their community or culture. So I just wanted to highlight those things. And I think the one that I signed up for, the 5th part, is more so because of my leadership position. I'm also the chief ambassador for the International Black Women Public Policy Institute. And so that's given me an opportunity to reach out internationally to other young women across the Pan-African global perspective that are also doing the work to build not only intergenerational connection, but to rebuild the communities that we're speaking of on this call. So I just ask that we don't take lightly our stories. They are what impact us, connecting our spiritualities, all of those different aspects. If we want to break those barriers, tell our stories, tell them from our perspective, and be proud of them, because our ends are our beginnings are our ends. And where we are right now, we are in a season of being awakened, and being transparent is okay. It is okay not to be perfect. We don't want perfection. We want the truth. So thank you all so much. I really enjoyed this conference, and God bless you all in your different perspectives and in your areas.
Thank you very much, Shada. I've learned a new term now. It's better be the truth than the sweet lie. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you've already put your hand up. We will definitely be connecting you. And I like what you're doing, by writing the names down, because probably that's the only feedback we're going to give outside. Is that these are the names of people who will unpack and will come up with actions. Right, go ahead inside there. I can't see the.
We have Mr. Eric Phillips next.
Eric, please go ahead.
If the tech team can just unmute Mr. There we
Yes,
go. Mr. Eric Phillips, go ahead.
Yes, good day, everyone. Wonderful conference. I hope we can build on this. I would like to see us focus on media and sharing more about this particular conference. You know, we are the converted. And as the previous speaker said, we need to have our youth engaged. So whatever mechanisms we can use to do that, I fully support. And I would like to work on number 8. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Erica. Thank you. You are absolutely right. You know, when we were planning this conference, we planned everything, and then we started thinking, geez, you know, we haven't told the world about this conference. So I think, and we tried very hard to tell the world, and it's been on all our national TV here in South Africa, but it's not been globally. So if there's an initiative to get all the global networks in the world, particularly in Europe and in the US, particularly the media houses, let's have a strategy of making sure that this resolution, this document, once it's finalized, it's run through all channels. And thank you very much, Eric. If you can help us in that regard, I would appreciate. So who's next, Rico?
We have Sidwell Mukhoto.
Sidwell, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. May I also register my appreciation of a wonderful conference we have had. There are a few things that I want to raise. The first one is around the name of the conference and the need for continuity from Manchester 1945. The concept, even if it makes sense of Africa and the diaspora, does not seem to link with the concept of Pan-Africanism. And I wonder whether we would not like going forward to be bold enough to call our work Pan-African with all the qualifications of the continent and the diaspora. I know that we in South Africa historically, because of the struggles of our people and how they were aligned to the Cold War, Pan-Africanism is associated with a particular liberation movement, but I think there is need to retrieve and be able to label it such so that we can help our young people in particular to appreciate what Pan-Africanism is about. Linked with that, I want to raise something that came up during the week, that part of our initiatives on Pan-Africanism itself and the African Renaissance has been more on government-to-government relations, and at the most it would go to academia. But we need people-to-people movement on Pan-Africanism. How are we going to root it amongst ordinary people and in communities? On the issue of reparation, I want to second an earlier speaker who, because what we have written there, we are talking about addressing, sorry, it is about, it address perspective about reparations. I think what we need is more than just perspectives. We need a mobilization for reparation. And those of us who are in South Africa, we must also link that with the TRC, reparation on the TRC. The issue of prejudices needs to be strengthened, especially racism and xenophobia. Those are going to be very important. I have already enlisted on the issue of spirituality and the establishment of the global network. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Bungan.
Thank you very much, Sidwell. I really appreciate your contribution. And also reminding us in South Africa, unfortunately, we were locked with the history of ANC and PAC, so Pan-Africanism is seen in that context. So we need to really redefine and change the different narrative. So yeah, I think we as South Africans have got some work to do in that space. And I'm glad you've raised it quite sharply. Okay.
We next have Dr. Kireng Mutuhai. If we can unmute Dr. Mutuhai. There we go.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Prof, I'm looking at the relationship and the policy part of this action plan. I'm not sure whether it's 2 areas or what, because I know we signed memorandum, we signed all these resolutions, conventions, and we have our policy makers. We have laws in all our countries, but it does not come out, the whole question of implementation. So I was looking at, I'm not sure, that is talking of relationship with civil society and holding our policy leaders somewhere. Okay, I'm looking at that relation.
That's number 5. That's number 5.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Number 5.
5. And then also number 4, that relationship within the Directorate of Division of Diaspora in the African Union and the 6 reasons for the African diaspora. I'm looking at participating at those 2. I get to or what, but Prof, I'm looking at that action plan on that 4 and 5.
Thank you.
I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kireng, for your contribution there and also putting your hand up for 4 and 5, because that's multilateral organizations. And also, how do you get governments to really buy in? Because what has really killed Pan-Africanism in this country is once people are in government, their priority do change. It may be Pan-Africanism that put them in government, but once they're in government, priorities change, because let's not underestimate the influence of the Europe in our governments, particularly the money part. Those that are dependent heavily on aid, and those that are their budget is funded by outsiders. That changes people's mind once they're in government. So we need to have a very strong civil society to hold them accountable. So who else, please, Refu?
We have Audrey Rogers next.
Audrey, please go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Audrey Rogers, hailing from Tuskegee, Alabama, and Tuskegee University, serving with the United Methodist Church, and also representing as a delegate for the Pan African Women's Network with Bread for the World. 2 quick points. It's kind of scrolling before me. And I heard it a little bit, but as we talk about economic reparations, and as we talk about reparations, I haven't heard a big response from the corporate community. And prior to going into ministry, I know I was in Fortune 500 companies for several years, and I've kind of missed their presence in this discussion. And I know they're all over the diaspora, from Caribbean to Africa to America, and their role in kind of that economic piece and reparations, and also in helping to organize, I think is an important piece. And I don't know if that will fall under the, can't see it anymore, under that economic, under seeking relationships with civic organizations or international organizations or not. But I think that is a very important angle to deal with, because they are having their own agenda globally across the diaspora, and not to engage them, I think, would miss some things. The other point panel or group that I would like to serve in is one, of course, dealing with the educational piece. And I think that piece is very important because it would kind of undergird all of the components. So I say 1, and then the piece about economic reparations, or no, the piece about working with the economic piece. in trade and collaboration in business and civil society.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for joining me. I need company in that space of economic trade and also understanding the issue of reparations and why the companies are struggling to come to terms with this. In fact, they reject it out of hand. We need to debate quite seriously, particularly multinationals, what drives them and how are the better strategies to ensure that we get reparations going. Thank you very much, Audrey. We'll definitely be in touch. Right, move on.
So, Prof, we don't have new hands, but I'm sure you could. Oh, there we go. We have Masiwa Gunda.
Masiwa. You must also manage time, eh?
Thank you. I will just say a little bit about the Pan-African community. I'm not too sure, unfortunately, because the whole list is not very clear for us to see through. I'm not too sure whether we have a point in which we make creating a solid community of people of African descent, because what I see is that as we were scattered all over the world, we became a disenfranchised people. We did not belong where we were taken to, and those at home remained, alone. And as you can see, and as you can also experience if you're traveling across the African continent, we don't have a sense of community amongst us. So I'm wondering whether we should not have that as something that we need to intentionally and deliberately do to create this sense of community amongst us. Because for me, I think most of the other things will become easier for us to do if we identify as a single community, which I'm not too sure we already are at that stage. And therefore, why I think we should have that as one of the goals that we seek to really work towards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Masiwa. And which
I had confused myself, but I think I will take number 8 first. And then please include me also on number 1.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Braish, I've been seeing you saying something about excellence and leadership. Please, can you give Braish, this is our veteran elders who've been in this game for many, many years, who've inspired us. So Braish, say some few words there. Unmute him, Rehu.
Find Ishmael. Can he raise his hand? Ishmael Makabel.
Yes, Braish Mkabel, I see.
His hand is raised, and then we'll go to Shadrach Mazaza afterwards.
Okay. I want to spend the last 10 minutes just reflecting on how we're going to report this in the plenary.
Yes, I'm just saying, being Black, being African, and our efforts and initiatives are always vilified. And it's time that we affirm ourselves, affirm remarkable leadership, contributions, and so on. That maybe that could be a contribution. May I also add another thing? That there is also what I think we need to think about. When you think Pan-Africanism, you find that within countries, and there are a lot of warfares, fighting, violence. Can we think of a way of mediation, peacemaking among our leaders? Because I think all that is taking us back. It's not taking Africa forward.
Oh, that's very, very important You know, during this conference alone, I mean, we saw a coup in Mali. We saw another coup. And I was saying to my wife, we were looking at TV, and I said, you know, this is really what is taking us back. Just if we can silence the guns in our continent, then we can start talking development. Then we can start, as a person in the energy industry, I mean, we've got gas discovered in Mozambique, and that whole project has come to an stall now. It's stalled completely, purely because there's just unnecessary, in my view, just warlords that comes out and then have a big fight starting, causing a safety situation, and everybody run away. And then and that gas that is sitting in Mozambique right now, if we don't extract it as Africans, it's going to be stale, and it's still going to stay there for the next 100 years. It never used, and that's the sad part. While Qatar, for instance, used their gas 8 years ago, I always use this example. Qatar was a desert, but 8 years later, 1 generation, look at what Qatar has done with their natural resource. Okay, thank you very much, Raish. So which action point I want to also locate you, make sure, because of your wisdom.
Yes, thanks, my professor. I would think I'm inclined to be in action number 3, as well as action number 9, but my primary inclination is action number 3.
Okay, thank you. Got your name down there. Rejo, are we closing now?
We have about 5 more minutes and we can take a 5-minute break. The session is scheduled to end at 5:24. We still have another hand in Shadrach Mazaza.
Shadrach, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I should start by thanking you and the organizers of this conference. It's been wonderful. It's been inspiring. My own passion in these proceedings is integrating the minds of Africans at home and in the diaspora. My view is that everything else we're trying to achieve is not going to be possible until we have owned our identity as Africans on the continent and those who are in the diaspora. We are Africans before we are anything else. And I think this is the biggest task. And I'm glad that the past 2 speakers have already touched on that the Pan-Africanism aspect of it needs to be emphasized. And I think I've put this in the chat to say that my view, I've signed up for 3 and 4. And I think that Action 3 should be expanded to efforts to integrate the continent, the peoples of the continent. Because I think in spite of the fact that Agenda 2063 is talking about integrating the continent by 2063, I think that we should be having discussions to see if we can't speed that up a little bit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 2063, some of us would be quite white bones underground. But we need to speed up for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So we need to lay all the foundation right now. All right. Any other hand? And then we'll map the way forward quickly.
Prof, I think this is the right time to start summing up.
Yeah, what I'm hearing here, because it's going to be very difficult to report, and you need to guide Rejo, how do you report at the plenary? But I think my suggestion is that we put this back in the plenary, and basically one thing says, look, we've got people who've signed up, and their names are there now, and we will take the next steps of, please make sure that your contact details, fortunately if you're registered, you'll be able to contact you, and that's number one. Number two, there are certain areas that were highlighted, particularly area of reparations, for instance, needs to be strengthened, and a number of other areas that needs to be strengthened. But that work has been documented, and we will have a team that cleans this document, and then within a short space of time circulate it. Maybe we can create some kind of a Google technology where we can work on this document. There. Malusi Mpulane is umfundisi omkhulu la bukhona lapha. And then we can be able to use all the infrastructures that we have, AAD, to basically, in my book, at least every quarter, we should have these sessions of each of these sessions meeting, and we will work out the infrastructure. There's a number of possibilities with technology. Is much more easier to do this and to advance these initiatives. Is that okay, Rico?
That is perfectly fine, Prof.
Good.
Yeah.
So give us direction now. What do we do?
I think Rev Chigani wants to jump in.
Okay.
No, Prof, I just wanted to make sure that we add the House Resolution 40 in the paragraph on reparations. The Congresswoman referred to that. I put it in order. It's there. They've got it already. Thank you very much. I think, Prof, we have done well. People have spoken. I think we should accept the framework of the document and then clean it up.
Thank you very much, Mfundis Wami. Right. Rico, where are we going now?
So, Prof, we are just waiting on confirmation that the other group will be wrapping up. They're expected to finish and come back here at 5 to 4, so in the next 5 minutes. So if we have wrapped up here, I would suggest that we take a 5-minute break so people can get some water, stretch their legs, and then come back at 5 minutes to 4 o'clock in Central African time. That is in 5 minutes time from now.
Thank you very much. Let's do that, and let's see you in 5 minutes time. Take a comfort break, and let's meet again. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your contribution. I truly appreciate it.
get there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will get there.
And the chance of being chosen as one of the delegates from the Republic.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will get there. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. It will be hard, we know, that the road will be muddy and rough, but we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will get there. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. It will be hard, we
Thank you very much, Rejo. We're back in the plenary session. Rejo, just give me a little bit of direction here. Do we start with a different Spanish, with Portuguese, and finish with English? How do we go about it?
I think if we let Ms. Heloisa Calmon go first. I see she's in the room. She was the rapporteur in the last group, and she'll be able to give us guidance for about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, and then we'll go back to the English, and then we'll wrap up at the same time period, but we should be ending this session at 20 minutes past 4. Thank you, Prof.
And then we go into this closing ceremony. All right, let's get going.
Olá, bom dia. Eu vou... Graças a Deus temos tradução, então eu vou falar em português. Nós tivemos um grupo de 6 pessoas do Brasil, essencialmente, e da América Latina. A Maricel falando, Maricel Mina Lopes falando da Colômbia, e a Selenir, em especial, as duas têm já grupos bem estruturados de trabalho, principalmente com base em universidades, e surgiu essa proposta, né, de, a partir desses grupos, a gente sensibilizar e trabalhar mais a questão do panafricanismo, da educação, principalmente baseado no tópico 1, foi o tópico onde as pessoas mais se enquadraram para falar a respeito, né, de articular grupos e trabalhar a questão da educação. A Selenir também colocou a proposta, né, do grupo, do tópico, falando sobre o tópico 9, né, de articular essa rede panafricana global, sustentável, a partir dessa perspectiva desse grupo, dessa base, que é o grupo Identidade, que já existe desde 1994 aqui, que foi já o início de uma articulação pan-africana, né, começou como americano, vindo aqui para o Brasil, né, com a ação de uma faculdade que é de origem alemã. Então, a gente já tem uma articulação, né, global, e a partir desse, né, a gente buscar sustento, fazer articulações para que tenha um apoio financeiro, e a partir dessa base do grupo Identidade, a gente articular outras redes, outros movimentos, que existem muitos movimentos aqui no Brasil, e articular esses movimentos para que a gente trabalhe na lógica pan-africana, né, tendo um olhar mais ampliado, uma visão mais ampliada do que nós podemos fazer como, né, negros, população negra da diáspora também, trabalhando pelo povo de uma forma pan-africana, né. A Maricel, ela tem já um grupo de pessoas graduadas e pós-graduadas, doutores, que trabalham também com a comunidade. Então, a partir disso, fazer esse link da academia, né, com a população, com grupos pastorais, afro também, então linkar a parte educativa, a parte acadêmica com a população, com as pessoas que estão na comunidade, e trazer isso também de uma forma mais prática, mais articulada para perto do povo, né, das pessoas que estão na comunidade. A gente teve a participação do Jorge também, o Jorge, assim como eu, acredito, está tendo contato mais recente com o movimento pan-africano, e aí o Jorge se colocou também com essa identificação na parte da espiritualidade. Todos no grupo ali eram cristãos, mas a gente entende essa necessidade de trabalhar a perspectiva da espiritualidade de uma forma muito mais ampla, e não só como cristãos que somos, mas ele tem essa identidade, né? Ele é um cristão, é numa igreja evangélica, e aí ele colocou isso dessa disponibilidade de se engajar nessa parte da espiritualidade. Eu tenho uma experiência também trabalhando a partir de igreja, né? Eu sou da Igreja Batista, a maioria ali é de igreja também, somos de igreja evangélica, então a gente tem essa visão de trabalhar a partir dessa perspectiva da igreja, de ter uma perspectiva decolonial do evangelho, do cristianismo. Isso é uma forma de trabalhar essa questão da espiritualidade, mas sempre de uma forma mais ampliada. E o Jorge também se colocou como não identificando ainda a forma prática, mas a gente entende que estando engajado nessa rede, tendo essa participação global, interagindo com outros povos, né, outros grupos de outras nacionalidades, que a gente vai poder conseguir ter mais ideias concretas para essa perspectiva econômica, né, para a gente conseguir fazer essa questão de prática de ações econômicas, de atividades que possam desenvolver economicamente, né, um intercâmbio regional e nacional de iniciativas empresariais. Ele também tem um grande interesse, a gente não conseguiu tirar uma ação ali prática, mas o desejo, né, essa perspectiva de se engajar e de trabalhar a partir dessa iniciativa empresarial, de ideias culturais e reflexões críticas sobre como a gente pode movimentar esse capital dentro da população pan-africana. Acho que foi isso, essas foram as ideias que a gente conseguiu, essas foram as reflexões que nós fizemos ali no grupo, no tempo que foi possível. Então, espero que eu tenha conseguido explicar um pouquinho do que foi falado no grupo. Obrigada.
Thank you very much for the report that came from the Portuguese and Spanish communities and delegates. There's been a lot that has happened in that discussion and that breakaway, and I'm sure we'll be able to pull it together and summarize it and make sure that it feeds into the declaration of this conference. I'm going to move quickly on the English and French side. What we really did there, we focused on the action plan, because there's a sense in which some of us are very action orientated, given the fact that there's been a lot that's been said, talked for many years on this subject, is how do we move it to the next generation? And so the first thing we did was go through each of the points, unpack them, but more importantly, we got commitment for each people. And I'll just read their names because I just want to make sure, when your name is being read, it increases your commitment. So on point number 1, Isabel Piri, that's action number 1, is dealing about decolonization of energy, of knowledge, education. Isabel Piri, Reverend Esme, Sidwell, Sishida Young, Esme Bauer, Kamel Makel, Sidwell Mohutu, Sishida Young, Maling, Sina Singh, Barbara Breland, Kubile Ngumalo, Audrey Jones, Masiwa Gunda, Tandanani Sabasha, Mikhail Kupa Pochin, Fulata Moyo. Just looking at the name, you can say this is a global representation. But can I make this point? Those people that have been in the Portuguese and Spanish breakaway, and if you feel that your talents, your gifts, your expertise can add value on this point, please add your name. because we're going to be running a lot of workshops which are streams based on these names. Just make sure that your name is added there. You can put it on a chat right now as we speak, and then Rejo will make sure that they put your name there. If you're interested in number 2, which was basically about spirituality, I see again Isabel Piri is there, George Ngwenya, Reverend George Ngwenya, Sidwell Mohotu, and MCCA Bishop. But I'm sure in the Portuguese and Spanish breakaway, there are people who've got passion on this area. Please just put your name as we speak right now, so that by the time we finish this conference, your name is there. We can be able to contact you and say what are the next steps. The third one is there was a very strong view about integrating the identities of the continent, because we are very desperate and there's no communal feeling, even when you're traveling all over the world, you know, when you land at the airport, there is no sense of communal and community amongst people of African descent. And I think we need to encourage that. Shadrach, Barbara, and our veteran leader here, Ishmael Mkabela, is very passionate about that. They'll form that work stream. And then number 4, Dr. Kireng, Shadrach, and Rejo, they'll put their names there. This is about formal relationship with multilaterals, in particular, in AU and the 6th region. This is to give life to this. It's a mammoth task. Thank you for volunteering there. The next one was about formal relationship, holding policy leaders and organizations accountable. There you are. Ezekiel is enlisting. I enlist to action 1. Yeah, please enlist on the chat. Just keep on enlisting, because that's what's going to take us forward, moving here. Yeah, no, you're moving very fast. No, calm down. Pull down, Rahu. I'll miss you. The next one is, so we've got Sishida, Dr. Kireng, Paul Rhodes, Tandanani, and Fulatu. And then number 5, we only have one name there, Paula Rhodes. I'm sure you can reconsider and add your name on the whole question of formal relationships and holding actors and actresses accountable to integrating the policies and decision makers, particularly of government. This is the most difficult part. So we need more firepower here and intellectual horsepower. Please come in. And then we have creating the business, trade, collaboration, civil society. Put my name there, man. I said I want my name there, put next to Bishop, then I'll also get some anointing. Bishop Mpulwane, Audrey Rogers, Modise Muhlodi, Zuzile Zunga. I see there's somebody enlisting on number 7 there, on your chat. And then Dr. Daniel Dublin. Are you back, Doctor? That's great. She's because you were running away because of the challenges and urgent things that you needed to do. Great to see your name here. So that's business. That's business. We need to get business. We need to have global businesses. I want to see global multinationals run by African people with the ethos of Africa, with Ubuntu, with a concern for environment and climate change, and then showing that we can run businesses for good, not for just profiteering.
Have we lost Prof. Khotsofetse?
It would appear that we've lost the professor. Does anyone know how to reconnect him?
Yeah. Once they are reconnecting him, I mean, he was in item number 8 and the names are there. I won't read them. And if there are people from the Portuguese Spanish group would enlist there. And then 9, if you go to 9, it's enter consultative processes to address matters related to the people of African descent. You know, that's the issue about global Pan-African network. We have got 1 person enlisted there, and I'm sure we'll have more people. Put my name there because I would like to be there. Prof, I was just closing the gap. And so
I love working as a team. It was a load shedding. It was a switch from load shedding, and the generator took a little bit longer to kick in. So I'm back. Yeah.
So let me finish 10, and then you take over. That the 10 is the follow-up conference in 3 years' time. We hope that it's going to be an in-person conference once we have put this pandemic under subjection, rather than be intimidated by it. We hope that we'll have defeated it. And so that's what that group, that decision is about. And I think everybody will agree. We need to meet to come and evaluate what we've done. Like Prof has said, it's work for 3 years. It's not waiting for the 3 years. Work for 3 years to produce the results. Over to you, Prof.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I like the teamwork we have. We've always said, if anyone has a connectivity problem, everybody must jump in. Looks like I'm having it now. Reho, am I still online?
Yeah, you are.
Loud and clear, Prof.
Okay, good. Thank you. So just to summarize then, basically what is going to be the next step going forward here. The AAD office, working in consultation with University of Witwatersrand. We also collaborate with the University of Johannesburg because this is a big problem. This is a big national global problem. There's no competition here. We're not going to be competing with university. So any university, anyone who wants to come in is welcome here. But the University of Witwatersrand, particularly the 2 schools, the school that I lead, which is Wits Business School, and the school that is led by Professor Kobo, which is Wits School of Governance, is going to work flat out to flesh out the action points here, put the dates, put a calendar of events, put the streams, contact you, let's get going in terms of just the kickoff meetings of the streams, and then get the streams laying out a plan of action, and just that first kickoff meeting, lay out a plan of action for the stream, put together the leadership of the team of the stream, and then create WhatsApp groups for each stream, and then make sure that they talk to each other. And then we will ensure that we've got postdoctoral students that needs to do research on the subject. Both Professor Kobo and I are firmly of the view that this university has to be firmly embedded on African challenges and issues. And our students should not be writing about all this esoteric academic stuff. They must be writing theses. They must be coming with projects that are related to solving these challenges that we're facing. We also will bring in private sector, we'll bring in government. So we want to make this global. So again, the opportunity to raise your hand is open, is still open. And take it back to your organization. And if they also want to raise a hand, they are there. We will need a lot of all hands must be on deck on this one. We will need resources. We will need human power and human intellectual capacity. We will need money, to be blunt. These things need to be funded. We don't want to be begging again and go and look. We need to raise our own money in order to be able to do our own thing, because once you've got money from outside, it's got strings attached. So we need to really get into that space of independence. So I think from my side, I'm grateful and thank you very, very, very much for all the participation for this session. I'm particularly pleased that it ended up with a very firm commitment and a firm plan of action and a firm commitment to do something, and people have raised their hands. And that gives me a tremendous amount of hope that it's not gonna end up. I've attended a lot of conferences in my life. And if you don't do this at the end, it just becomes another conference that you will remember, but nothing comes out of it. So, but I think we've done a great work. And I think history will judge us whether we've done a good job or not. I think at this point, I'll have to pause and hand over to my leaders. And I needed a little bit of direction there, Rehu. You're guiding me here. Give us some next steps from now. I've been looking for it on. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we close, we're going to have a few concluding remarks and any announcements from our esteemed leaders who have brought us here together. This is both Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith and Reverend Frank Chikani.
Yes, this is our leaders and pioneers and visionaries. Over to you, Reverend Walker-Smith.
Well, what an honor, what a joy. We have come to a very agreeable and exciting way forward. Professor Radebe, thank you so much for leading us through the processes today. Thanks to everyone for being a part of the conference over this past week. This has been absolutely amazing. By God's grace, 3 years later, a meeting held in Switzerland of people of African and African descents, and our vision has come into being. But the vision continues. And so we hope and pray that everyone, not just a few, but everyone, will have signed up to help us move this vision forward. Many of the people that were here as speakers, as well as participants, will be collaborating together going forward. This is potentially a very historic moment for us to follow what our ancestors have already given to us as our vision of a Pan-African future that is inclusive of and for all. So without further ado, I would just like to thank again everyone for all that you have given. We thank all of our sponsors. We thank all of our partners. We thank all of those who moderated, who spoke, who gave life to this amazing week. It's just been an amazing journey. One some of us have been dreaming of for some time. And we just really thank God for you. We're looking forward to working with you in the future. The next steps will be that the leadership team will be coming together today and twice on next week to review carefully what has been presented here. We will be working with Professor Radebe and of course the universities that he has named as we put together the work plan strategy that will lead us into the next 3 years. We will be coming up with a work plan that is strategic and that includes the various themes and all of the outcome recommendations that you have provided and we have provided together. So be prepared to be called upon relative to your work group, and then be prepared for a consultation that will bring us together with others, whereby we would then share what our vision is in each of the different work teams, and then be prepared for a gathering that will come thereafter. No, I don't think it will be 3 years. Hopefully, we will all move with some swiftness and effectiveness, and it will come together even much sooner. I want to remind you that next year is the 11th Assembly of the World Council of Churches. I want to remind you that the Permanent Forum of the UN begins next year. I want to remind you that we're coming to the conclusion of the UN Decade in Solidarity with People of African Descent. And again, I want to remind you that the African Union is actively pursuing its engagements with the diaspora, even as we have the arrival of a new ambassador in Washington, D.C., who is having special consultations with various groups throughout the Americas, particularly to envision what CEDAW, which is a part, of course, of the African Union moving forward. And then finally, all of the various governments to which all of us are a part, there is a role for your government to play. This is not all global, this is also national, and this is also local. So we begin anew with recruiting and identifying others who may or may not have been a part of this week. This whole week will be on the website for viewing. So if there are others who would like to be a part, we invite you to share the link anyway on the website and to invite them to your work teams. This is the time to gear up the mobilizations of people and of strategies from the regions so that we can have a coherent and full way forward. So again, thanks to all. We are really looking forward to the next steps. You now have some clues about that for Professor Wadebe and myself. And now it is my great joy, it is my great honor to turn over now to my co-convener, the Reverend Frank Chikani. Reverend Chikani, again, I want to thank you for working so kindly with me, the international team, the host team, and making this moment come into existence by God's grace and by God's power. We love you and we look forward to the next steps.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith. It has been a pleasure to work with you for the last 3 years to make this conference a reality. Let me just say, as I'll say the last comments at the end, but let me say, when we conceptualized the conference, when we conceptualized the vision, we would not have imagined that it will end up the way it has. You know, when you have a vision, you have got a picture of what you want to see, and what we have seen, it's more than what one would have imagined. So I would like to thank you. We've been working across the Atlantic, in contact all the time, and all voluntary. You know, it was all voluntary for the cause of the people of African descent. So, ma'am, thank you very much. We're still going to work together into the future as we take off from today on. Let me just start by doing formal, vote of thanks because it's important. And firstly, I would like to start by thanking you, ma'am, for the leadership and for coordinating the international team that planned together this conference. We made sure we found leaders in all the regions of the world. Thank you very much. We also had what we called an executive, and it brings in our sister professor, Dr. Isabel Apau Piri, the Deputy General Secretary of the World Council of Churches. We acted as a troubleshooting group, the three of us, and I would like to thank you, ma'am. I'm going to thank the WCC later, and then I would like to also thank the international leadership group, all of it. I can't mention all the names. And then thank the host committee that has been working on this again for the last 3 years or so. In particular, Professor Khadebe, who was my co-chair initially, and I ended up abandoning him to run it alone because I focused on the international. I would like to really thank you and all the members of the host committee. I would like to thank in particular also Professor Mzukisi Ngcobo. The two professors are, one is head of governance, the governance school, and Khatebe is a head of the business school. And they made available their team, their staff, to be used for this purpose. You've been seeing the young man called Khotsofetse Chikani. He didn't come here because we share a surname, but Professor Mzukisi Ngcobo brought him in. He's a lecturer at the university and made him available. So he has not been paid for what he has been doing, except that it's a service for the cause. And all the operational team they worked with, Nono and other names I can't mention now, SPA and, I can't go through all the names. So I'd like to thank you for making this conference a success. In particular, I would like to thank the government of South Africa, the Department of International Relations that has helped us to work through the AU and other entities, UN, used their diplomats to assist us. Would like to thank them, thank the president who will send formal letters for his support, and the Minister Mtetwa, thank former President Mbeki for opening and presenting the keynote address, and all the speakers. I counted the speakers. You won't believe how many speakers we had. And all of them will get a formal letter of thank you. We're going to have to make sure, but they will all be on the website. So everything they said, you'll find on the website. So we thank all the speakers who have spoken. Let me just say specifically that the schools, as I said, hosted us technically, and therefore would like to thank them, including the Thabo Mbeki school. And then, of course, there are the foundations, the Steve Biko Foundation, Thabo Mbeki Foundation, the Unleashing Leadership Potential, the South African Council of Churches. All those institutions assisted us to make sure we achieve the objectives we have achieved. And I would like to thank the sponsors. That's the last set of people. If I haven't thanked you, know that you are thanked. But the sponsors are listed in the website. Those who supported us, even if they did not put money, but supported us in kind and otherwise. And then in particular, we need to thank Professor Khadebe and the ULP because they made the greatest part of the contribution, more than 50% of the costs, and would like to thank them for that. The School of Governance made cash contributions, would like to thank them. Would like to thank Advocate Mujangu. She's the one who put money to hold our venue when we're going to be physical at that time. And would like to thank and all those who have put their money to assist us. I would like to thank you. Now, I really want to end by going back where we started. And when we started, I said that unless we emancipate ourselves, no one is going to do it. And you remember I quoted Bob Marley's lyrics, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And I said from Fanon, each generation must, out of its relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. And so we have a responsibility to fulfill our mission. And this is our time to make sure that we achieve that. So thank you very much, and all those who helped us with prayers, etc. And so we're going to move into the closing session, Prof. And we will have a prelude in terms of music that leads us into the closing session. There will be a video clip, and then those who are going to lead us in prayers will then take over and pray. And when we end, we shall say Aluta Continua together. Prof.
Thank you very much, Reverend Chikane. You've been our leader for many, many years, and God has given you the unbelievable amount of vision and talent. And so we thank you for leading us in this. We also want to thank Reverend Angelique, Reverend Dr. Angelique and Walker Smith. The two of you have been really holding this torch. So we want to thank you, because if you were not there, we would not have been able to achieve this. So thank you for hanging in there. Yeah, there were times where it was very difficult, I must say. There were times where we didn't think it's going to happen. It reminds me Nelson Mandela, his word, he says it seems impossible until it's done, and that's where we are now. So what we're going to do, we will have a short music interlude, and then immediately thereafter the video that will be shared, and then the meditation and prayer will be led by Reverend Joy and Selena Kronbacher. And then at the end, I'll ask you to unmute, and then we will say the struggle continues, because it is important to know that. And then we'll play a closing song, and then we'll close this session. So let's go. Music, please.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. Boom, boom, ti-boom, ti-boom, boom, 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 ti-boom, ti-boom, boom, boom. It will be hard, we know, that the road will be muddy and rough, but we will get there.
When the mothers and fathers of Pan-Africanism, who came from the Americas, the Caribbean, Africa, and Europe, gathered at the Manchester 1945 conference, they hoisted 3 flags of countries that were considered as free at the time. These were Haiti, Ethiopia, and Liberia. After the Manchester Conference, many countries on the African continent were freed. The number of countries that became free after this conference indicates the extent of the impact that the conference had. Together with African continents, the Caribbean islands were also freed. Struggles were also intensified in America to secure the rights of African Americans. There are few countries which would still be considered as not free till this day, like Western Sahara, which is the Sahrawi Arabic Democratic Republic situated in the African continent, and West Papua, which we have heard about during this conference. This conference has come at a critical and strategic time of confluence of events and activities that make it possible for us to change the balance of forces globally to free the people of African descent around the world.
That again reminds us Please, let's pray. Reverend Joy and Selena.
Greetings to all my sisters and brothers around the globe. What a blessing to be here on this virtual platform at the closing ceremony of this historical Africa and African Diaspora Conference 2021. I invite all our participants now to engage in silent meditation for a few seconds as we prepare for a time of prayer from our various regions around the world. Let us join in meditation for a few seconds. And so now I invite to begin with prayer. We start with our Latin American sister, and we follow with Africa, Asia, Caribbean, North America, and Europe. Let us unite in global prayer.
Deus da libertação, Deus da libertação e emancipação. Seu poder é imensurável e sua bondade excede nossa imaginação.
As we have gathered from the east, west, north, and south, from the places of oppression, exploitation, and marginalization, but we also places of celebration and love.
Encourage us, oh dear Lord, to get the taste for justice and pursue it with all our might and all our power and all our strength, guided by you, beyond our cozy comfort zones.
We thank you, Almighty God, for this week of unity in diversity, fellowship, and reflection.
Arouse your passion in us for action
and re-image and remake us from inside out. O God of creation and recreation, renew us as we continue our shared journey of justice.
Together, amen, amen, amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Can I ask you, all the delegates that are here, to unmute yourself, and tech team, if they can't, please unmute them, because we need to have our shout and call future into being. Have we all done it? We're gonna shout, all of us, a luta continua. So 1, 2, 3, let's go. A luta
continua.
Let's go again.
A luta continua.
Let's go it loud.
A luta
continua. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigada.
Travel safely.
Obrigada.
Obrigada. Gracias.
Obrigada.
Merci.
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 Can I get us?
God bless you.
God bless all of you.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Let's get a
Amen.
song that leads us. Our closing song. Thank you.
We thank you. This is a song that was written by my little girl. She wrote it for me after I had the honor and the chance of being chosen as one of the delegates from the Republic of Guinea to attend the independence celebrations of Mozambique. It was in Mozambique that I first heard the words in Portuguese, "A luta continua." When I came back, I told Bongi all what I saw. I said, write me a song. She wrote the song. We have the habit of dedicating it to the people of Mozambique and to their vanguard party, Frelimo, and to the beloved Samora Machel. My people, open your eyes and answer the call of the drum. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel has come. Maputo, Maputo, home of the brave, our nation will soon be as one. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel as one. Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. And to those who have given their lives, praises to thee, husbands and wives. All thy children shall reap what you've sown. This continent is a whole. My brothers and sisters, stand up and sing. Eduardo Mondlane is not gone. Frelimo, Frelimo, your eternal flame has shown us the light of dawn. Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua, a luta continua, continua. In Zimbabwe,
Wow, thank God.
Wow.
Sure. Amen.
Thank you.
How marvelous, marvelous.
Yeah, that was lovely, and what a surprise.
Marvelous, marvelous.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and bye-bye to everybody.
Bye-bye to everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
Ashe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yo, nasepahala.
How we know we will get there.